Hi, I'm Dr. Shane Morris here at Systemic Formulas, and I have with me Production Manager Spencer Hansen.
Hello.
We want to take you behind the scenes today. First, we want to answer some really fundamental questions about why we do what we do, why we're passionate about it, and secondly, we're going to take you on a journey. And our passion comes from years, in fact decades, of being in this industry. And Spencer's already reaching a decade of being with us. These decades began with, of course, my grandfather, Doc Wheelwright, and then they have now persisted until today. And it begins with our herbs and our glandulars and our nutrients that we've always relied on to bring greater health to really amazing challenges that we face as part of our health crisis. And that's changed over time. And we've had to adapt during this process. In the past, we used to look at calcium as being a fundamental source of our nutrients, and it's really elaborated since then. Those of you that remember the methylation pathways, imagine 20 years ago those didn't exist. So we've really kept up with technology. Let me get to some of the questions that we get all the time. For example, why do we use glandular tissues? And we refer to them as RNA, DNA tissue factors. And you'll notice that throughout our formulations, we have herbs, glandulars, and some unique nutrients. We are a very symbiotic company. We combine a lot of different ingredients to make each formula. We're not simple. We don't sell you a single ingredient or a single herb or a single nutrient. That's not how we do it. We combine them with energetics, with genetics, with epigenetics, and with microbiome in mind. We really encompass a really synergistic formula. But why glandulars? Well, we believe that glandulars provide unique nutrients. Those nutrients are in the form of DNA, RNA, and small molecules, typically being RNA, steroidal, proteins, peptides. And what do these things do for us? Well, we know now, over the decades of research, that those ingredients coming from glandulars actually do return to the tissues that they come from, because that's where they're made. So that is one amazing thing about glandulars, is whether there be hormonal constituents, peptide, or like I said, RNA, DNA, they'll return back to those tissues, which is pretty cool. You know, we can't always count on all of the nutrients returning where they should through the body's intelligence, but we know the glandular tissues do. That's why we use those. We pick herbs from all over the globe. And there was another video we did that talked about how we quality control these. And please watch that video if you take a moment. It's going to tell you how we do all of our QC. These herbs from all over the globe are combined into these formulas. And I'm not going to go into more detail there, and we'll take you on a journey later. And finally, we have very specific nutrients that we take advantage of. We have multiple forms of vitamins. We have vitamins that are organic and from a plant source, all the way to the vitamins that hit you at the end of the path in our cellular formulas. They're the end of the pathway. They go right into the cell. And we've covered the gamut to take care of different issues across the board. That's why we use glandulars and some of those nutrients. Why do we use things like dextrose? We used to use lactose, now we use dextrose in many of the formulas, and people ask, why is it there? Well, it's there because each of these formulas have what's considered a homeopathic component. We can't claim the homeopathic piece because it is in a synergistic formula, but there is a part of that formula that is homeopathic, and it used to be on lactose, but now it's on organic dextrose, and that comes from grape sugars. That's why dextrose is there. It's not an issue for people that are worried about their sugar intake. It's a very small amount. Furthermore, it's organic, and we've gotten away from lactose for that reason. People ask about folic acid. They ask about ascorbic acid. Both of those ingredients have been taken out of formulations. From here on out, you're only going to see folates, folacin, methyl tetrahydrofolate, or ascorbates, magnesium ascorbate, zinc ascorbate, and so on, amla, rose hips. These are going to be our forms of ascorbates. So we've really tried to keep up with the demand of getting higher quality ingredients in all cases. And I know we've done so many things to facility, so I'm going to let Spencer tell you a little bit about our equipment and our facility and some of our packaging innovations, so to speak.
Yeah, so we've made quite a bit of changes here at Systemic Formulas since I've been here. It's been about 10 years now that I've been the production manager here at Systemic Formulas. we have made changes to slow our consumption of electricity, to help the environment, from changing our lights and doing the wonderful things to really help spread that message, along with getting better equipment that's safer, that we can manufacture higher quality products.
You've taken advantage of new plastics that are...
We have now, most of our packaging is eco-friendly.
Yeah.
It's very eco-friendly. It'll just go into the environment. It's not going to be harmful. We're trying to be very conscious in that step. As we learn more, we definitely make the steps in the right areas.
So some of the bottles, remind me, how long do they last in the environment once they're discarded?
They actually need an environmental enzyme to help break them down. So
Okay.
they're not going to start breaking down on the shelf. They actually need to be exposed to the elements to start that breakdown process. So
excellent.
And we've had great luck with them. We've tried a bunch of the different experiments to kind of see what those bottles can do, and they're rugged, they're tough, and then they're ready to break down when they go to the landfill.
That's right. That's awesome. So they break down over a couple of years. And of course you'll notice that a lot of our pills are in those kinds of bottles as opposed to glass even, because they don't break as easily and they're biodegradable.
And and as plastic is hard on the environment, we're trying to do our part into really protecting. And to treating our customers right.
And we do some testing on these plastics. We've found that different plastics contain different plasticizers, and we've tried to really get away from those as well, which is amazing when you think about it. The liquids, because I'm pushing this biodegradable plastic, I want to remind you that some of the liquids are still in glass because of that. We don't want to leach plastics out of plastic, so we try to use as much glass in a liquid environment as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've also, what we're very inclined to do in here at Systemic is we're very into training, to making sure that our operators are in the know with the most cutting edge processes, so that way we know that through our good manufacturing procedures that we know that we're giving you the highest quality product.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point that I always forget. We are an FDA registered and visited facility, and so we have all the GMP compliance. Although it's sometimes you got to go and create the plaque, and we don't always tout that. We have all of those credentials. We just don't always market those credentials. But yeah, we're completely compliant. We've got a great team of people, and as we've grown, those team of people you've got people that have stayed with you, and they become experts in their field.
They become experts, totally.
Yeah.
We have some of the best operators making these products around that have been in the industry for a long time. We've even been so good to get other operators from other companies doing the same thing to come work with us, and it's fantastic. The equipment, our equipment, we have worked really well with equipment manufacturers to come up with cutting edge, very unique manufactured equipment that are only, relevant to us, to make sure that we give you guys the best products we can possibly give you.
Yeah, one of the pieces of equipment he's talking about, those of you that buy our packages with sachets, those little sachets, that's a unique piece of equipment that was engineered for us and for Spencer for us to make up to 6 different pills in a package, and we're the only people with that. It creates there's a lot of QC in that equipment that prevents packaging different pills, too many pills, too few, errors, There's some other science that we're working on that is going to help reduce, in the film and in the capsules themselves, to continue to reduce moisture. You'll see some of our capsules all the time have spotted and things. We're currently working on that to improve that science, to improve the science of the capsule. Spencer's involved in, not only in our world, but in people that supply us capsules, improving the quality of the capsule and the films and the boxes and so on. So there's a lot going on.
All the time.
And perhaps, as you look at our changes, we're always changing to try and catch up with that and keep our products as stable as possible. One thing that comes to mind is the skin colonizer. All the development that went into that here at this facility, it's now a living oil of bacteria that is a one of a kind. There's nothing else on the planet like it, and that's we spend a lot of time in manufacturing as well as in the lab to come to that ability to do that from both pieces. And so we're proud to tell you that we have people now that are becoming experts. We have people that have been here as long as I have now, and they're really moving up and becoming an expert in their field.
And the relationship in our teams that we're able to, that production is able to work closely with formulations and R&D to really give you the best products. That's the thing, is the relationship and the team mentality here at Systemic is also one of the main contributing why we have some of the best products out there.
Yeah.
It is, it's our operators, and it's how we work together as a team to problem solve and to continue change those processes to make them cutting edge.
Yeah.
We're very proud of that.
Yeah, and we're real. I know I've worked at other places where we struggle, and one of the pieces of equipment, the encapsulators, there's always the question of excipients. You know, why do you guys use certain excipients? And our primary go-to for capsules is leucine, of course. And then we have some other fats we use. And very seldomly, only like in 3 formulas, do we use something called magstearate. But it's so low, it absolutely does not contribute to the heart or the plaque issues that have been given the crisis of that ingredient. It's not part of our world. We've controlled for that, and that's not heard of. And I know that people that produce anything like the products that we produce, there is no other way to put that in a capsule. And so if it's not on the label, that just means they're not telling you that, because it has to be used for certain products. And that is a fact. I've been in manufacturing across the nation, and I know that's true. So we're honest. We put it on the label. We don't hide anything. And please come and join us live at our events to see the tour and to get more questions answered.
Yeah, we'd love to see you.
That being said, you know, we're pretty excited about all of our changes coming. Like I said, we're still working on new excipients, new capsules, new equipment. But we want to take you on a tour now, beginning with where we get our raw materials.
How they come in the door.
Yeah, when they come in the door, I can tell you that we source them globally. And there's always a concern when you're sourcing globally, how do you make sure they're quality? We have a number of ways to do that, and that gets back to, again, the video on testing. So please watch that, because we invest a large chunk of our resources into testing and R&D. And that's how we can guarantee that when we buy something from China, it is what it is, it lacks heavy metals, it lacks bad bacteria, it has great potency, and so on. That's all done through testing. And if we fail, it's 100% rejection. It goes right back to the people that sent it to us. We form relationships with vendors, with farmers, with people that grow it, with people that harvest it. Leptotwania, one of our main oils, lematium or leptotwania, that's ours. We harvest the root, wildcrafted, we send it out and get it extracted on CO2, which is the safest solvent on the planet because it's basically carbon dioxide. That's how we extract our oils, which is, there's no solvents. There's no hexanes, there's no ethanol. I mean, it's a beautiful way to get our oils. That's the kind of thing we do. So the journey, we begin with global sourcing. We go through testing, which, again, to the video, and then it enters your world.
Yeah, and we have to control every process of that raw material to ensure that it's going to be the purity and everything else is there. So we have climate controlled our warehouse for our storage facility. We take up all the necessary precautions to keep the raw materials pure. Just storage, how they're even marked and located and tagged.
Yeah, because when you make a recipe, you don't want to make a mistake.
Correct. Yeah.
You want to be able to pick each item. It's a lot like making a recipe. Every ingredient has to be weighed, and so walk everybody through the steps now. You start with, now that you've been given the raw materials, you have recipes, and walk everybody through what they're going to see on camera, step by step, the kinds of equipment and the steps that are needed to create the finished products that we love and trust. Beginning with picking.
The receiving.
Receiving and picking, yeah.
So we receive the raw material, we test it. After it is tested and the testing is accurate and it passes our strict specifications, we then release it in our warehouse. From this point on, it is very tightly controlled. We do this for many reasons. We're trying to cut costs and save our customers money. So we try to really go above and beyond to really control that. Then also to make sure, we do work with wild crafters, and some of these products are very hard to obtain.
Yeah.
And they take a lot of time, so it definitely makes a lot of sense to really have that control of the inventory. So it is stored, treated very well in our warehouse. We keep our temperature in a close specification, so it doesn't get too hot, too cold. From there, it is then pulled, and then we batch the product. So it's just more than just one product. We put multiple products into or multiple different raw materials into one product.
Yeah.
From then, we are then the quality assurance program here at Systemic is constantly checking us to make sure that it's verified, that the amount of products that it says that's in the product or in the bottle that you received and that's on the label, it's there.
Yeah. It's like following a recipe right out the gate.
It is.
Each one is weighed, double-checked, reweighed, and so on.
Yep, and very redundant steps in there to make sure that the process is complete.
Yeah.
After the batching stage, then we go into a mill or a grind. We then make the particle sizing uniform.
Yeah.
So after the particles are uniform size, then we can go ahead and we can mix that product.
Yeah.
We mix it for a certain amount of time through agitation, depending on what we need or what the product demands. Mm-hmm. And after that, we can do multiple different things with the product. If we need to encapsulate the product, we have very efficient encapsulators.
Yeah.
If we need to powder the product, we can then package it right after the blending and the mixing. And sometimes we take that mix and we will actually extract. So we'll actually turn that powder product into some liquid products.
Liquids,
so then
those
we
are
extract and react, and we do it all here at Systemic.
Yeah.
And then after that aspect, our packaging. We have multiple different capabilities of packaging. If it's liquid packaging, if it's capsule packaging, or if it's powder packaging, or even multiple different types of products into a single package or box packaging.
That's right, our box, our kits.
Yeah.
And that you're going to see that on video, all the different steps that he's described. And some of the things that we might not point out later, when we mill something and we particle size, that allows us to fit more in a capsule. When we mix, he said timing, he mentioned timing, that allows us to make sure that we have a homogeneous mix so that when we test it in the lab, half of the product is over here and the other half's over here. So that's how we do it. And now we can take you on the tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Spencer.
This is our receiving department here at Systemic Formulas. So as the products are received in the door, they are visually inspected for any damages to the product, and then after that, they're staged here. From this point, we actually have our quality assurance department that comes down and they'll actually pull samples. After the samples are then taken, the product cannot move, and it stays in this quarantine department until it is passed.
Passed all testing. Yeah. And if it fails, it's rejected and sent back. If it's passed, it goes into the inventory and available for use.
Go ahead and put it in your products. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, this is great. This is a step not only required by FDA, but we go above and beyond and test for a number of things in these products. So it's a great step. Here we are in the batching room, and Spencer's going to describe the batching process for each and every formula.
So we just talked about as the products come in the door and the quality assurance department has to release them before we're able to use them. After they've released them, we then assemble, depending on the formula we're making, the raw materials. After they are then assembled, we bring them to this room, and then they are weighed and verified so that the exact amounts are then added to the formula, and then we can then lie within our specification that we have predetermined.
Yeah, and that weighing and verification is a lot like taking a recipe and being very serious about each and every milligram of that recipe. Every item is identified, every weight is double checked, and then until that recipe's done, and then QC signs off on it. The other piece that you should know from Systemic's perspective is we do it exactly the way we've done it since Grandpa started. Mike, the batcher, who you don't see, he actually was trained by Doc, my grandfather, in this process to maintain the same techniques that Grandpa used for each and every formula. And I know some of you, that's an important aspect of this piece, to maintain the integrity and the energy and so on.
Yep, and that has not changed.
Right on, thanks.
Yep.
After batching, every formula needs to be sized so that it fits the end product, whether it be a capsule or powder, and that happens in this step.
So this step is the milling process.
Okay.
We currently use a Fitz mill, hammer mill, to particle or reduce the size of our, if it's going to be roots, leaves, different forms of herbs. We then particle size the product and to then prepare it for the next stage. Yeah,
and by particle sizing, does that allow you to do different things with a powder?
It does. It does. It allows it to behave in certain forms. So then that way it can be encapsulated easily.
Okay.
It can then be even pulled into a liquid extract or
increases the surface area.
It does.
Helps powders, like in powder mixes sometimes.
Flowability.
So it's a critical step, and it's a step that we have to do because one of the things that Spencer told you and I've told you is that we source whole herb materials from all over the globe. What that means is they come in as branches, as bark, as leaves, as seeds, and we have to turn them into a powder before we can put them into a finished product. As a whole product, it gives us that quality assurance that we can see that it's a bark. We can see that it's a leaf. We don't have to guess. And now, so the particle sizing is a critical step for that.
Yes.
Right on, thanks. After particle sizing, one of the next steps is encapsulation. And encapsulation is critical because so many of our formulas go into capsules. And that gives us some pharmacology or some ways to deliver formulas to the body. Capsules are gelatin, they're veg, and one of them is enteric. That means that we can deliver capsules to different parts of the body. And that's critical for different healing processes. And based on the technology that Spencer's going to describe here in a second, it also allows us to fit more into the capsule and to fit very difficult formulas into capsules that have otherwise been a challenge for other people, and they end up putting them in a powder formula. So this gives us that. It also makes the formulas more stable. Capsule gives us another way of stabilizing the materials inside of the capsule. So we're excited about all those aspects or scientific aspects of encapsulation, but it's technically challenging.
It is. We have a lot of challenges. Trying to fit 1,200 different raw materials inside capsules can be a little bit of a challenge. We've worked with Bosch. We currently run a Bosch GKF 1505, and it's capable of about 90,000 caps an hour. The partnership with Bosch has been great. They've really helped us to problem solve and to troubleshoot some of the different types of challenges we have with encapsulation, along with the type of training that we've encountered and that we currently practice.
Right.
Is working with Bosch and a couple other companies that have been in the industry also as long.
Yeah. And I know that. I mean, hitting the weights of those things it's the operator and it's the equipment. And you guys have invested in both, which is awesome. Thanks. We've made it to the packaging room. This is the room where we take the capsules and put them into a bottle. And again, we've talked about how amazing some of our packaging components are, like the biodegradable bottles, and we've improved labels you've seen over time. Spencer, tell us more about what we're looking at.
So we use a channel counter is what it's called. It uses a form of optical counters or lasers to count the pills. The reason why we went to this is to really eliminate errors.
Yeah. Miscounts.
Miscounts, correct. So with this machinery, we would much rather give our customers an extra pill than undercut them a pill. So that's why we decided to move to this counter.
Okay.
But the error rate is very slim, After the counter, we go through a metal detector check layer, where it is then found out if ferrous material are contained in the product or not, and that it verifies the amount of capsules are correct by check weighing.
Yeah.
After that, it then receives a cap, a label, a unique identifier or a lot number that you will see on the bottom of your bottle.
Yeah.
And then after that, it will then receive a tamper seal on the top of the bottle.
Right.
And then after that, we then store them into a 12-pack for distribution.
Yeah, awesome. I know that one of the quality pieces is that metal detector that helps us prevent anything from this facility getting into it after we test all the raw materials, right? And then of course the bottle from here goes up to testing before it can go to shipping, the releasing of the lot. And the other QC piece that I thought is pretty amazing is on the bottle you said a lot number, or a quality control number. That number gives us an idea of age. We're able to test these products over time. Now, you can't read the number. Those of you that are going to watch this, you have to contact us. It gives us an idea, and every product is unique.
It is.
But in general, herbal products last through testing at least 4 years. Liquids are around 2, powders are around 2, and that's kind of so far the testing has given us those used by dates. But otherwise, you're going to have to contact us to really know how old your product is and how long it lasts. But that number gives us that ability to track it, right?
It does, yep, and it's on every single bottle, so it is easy to trace.
And again, it's an amazing team in here doing all the work, and you'll notice that you're right, we have many fewer errors than we did years ago, so it's pretty amazing.
Very few errors,
Yeah, a lot more quality built in.
Very, yeah. It does slow us down, but we take pride in our quality. So.
Yeah, right on, thanks.
Yeah.
We're now in the packaging room for liquids. One of the technologies that we created here at Systemic is liquid extraction processes, and we do a number of them that are really unique. We can make unique alcohol and water extracts. We can make liposomal liquids. We've developed a lot of really amazing liquid processes, and it's a very different path. So you do the same process that you've heard Spencer and I talk about in the batching and mixing and particle sizing, but instead of going into a capsule, it finds its way into the liquid world, and that's really where you take a turn.
Yeah, so we extract the product, and the products can sometimes go through its own batching cycles to add flavors or to add the raw materials.
Yeah.
To make the different claims present in the net formula. After that, it is then collected, and then we then produce the product where we package the product. It goes through a liquid filler. From a liquid filler, we then put a dropper or cap on it.
Yeah.
There it gets a label and another unique identifier. All of our finished products have a unique identifier, the lot number.
Yeah.
Then it gets a tamper seal, and then we then store those into a crate for shipping.
Yeah.
And where they're distributed.
You bring a good point. One of the things we do, and oftentimes people will ask about flavoring, because there are a number of labels we run out of room and we just say natural flavors. Those are indeed natural flavors. We source them from berries, from citrus fruits, from tropical fruits. That is not a covert word for some nefarious flavor. It's a true natural flavor, but our labels do tend to be smaller on the liquids, so we run out of room to list mango flavor, passion fruit flavor, but they are all natural, and we're not hiding anything. And I know we get that question oftentimes on those products, but it is. And we go through a whole series of quality control taste tests as well.
All the time.
Yeah, so we're pretty proud of the liquids. The liquids extraction process is uniquely ours, and you've done a number of great things to increase the efficacy of the herbs in the liquids and to make them stronger and stronger, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has been fantastic.
Right on, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. This is part of our packaging department. This is our sachet machine. It is capable of producing 50 individual sachets a minute. It is capable of handling 6 different varieties of products into a single sachet. Some of the best features about this piece of machinery is that the reduction of errors and the amount of accuracy this machine's able to produce. It is taking measurements multiple times throughout this process to guarantee that the sachets are complete and accurate. Along with making the sachets are receiving an individual lot number for their unique identity.
The last step in the process is distribution, or otherwise known as shipping. And it's an amazing process for us because we've continually improved shipping numbers. In fact, this team you see here, they have gotten it down to a fraction of a percent errors. So hopefully you guys have experienced the improved accuracy of our shipping. And of course, that's something that, is part of your world, and tell us a little more about it.
So the training, and I think it's the team members that work in the back. They strive to keep up on the training and to really make sure those procedures are in place to really limit the errors that are coming down to the customers.
Yeah.
To really save costs.
There's
multiple aspects.
Around us, you can kind of see that they've organized a system to keep track of each and every product that's produced. And there's a number. We have over 200 formulas that they pick from.
And it could be a challenge, but they do it extraordinary.
Yeah, they really do. The errors have been great. And those of you that have been with us for a while have seen those errors improve over and over, year after year. Yeah. And it's an amazing. Now, one of the challenges you might have and a question you might have is back orders. That's a very scary term. We all don't like them. But it's something, again, we're investing heavily. Every part of this video you see, we are investing in every step to improve or reduce back orders and to eliminate them ultimately to the best of our ability. Every step offers a complexity, and we have a zero tolerance for if a product fails, it stops. So the products you see here have been tested again, and they cannot be delivered to a client until they've passed.
Correct.
And sometimes that stalls the process if something's in testing, and it impacts you guys, but we are working through that, just so you know. But this is an amazing system, and I'm glad we've really built it up.
It's worked out well.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for joining us on this tour. We had a great time explaining things to you, and if you want to learn more, you got to come visit us at one of our live events, because you can meet the people, you can ask questions, and it's an amazing time. You'd love it. I want to wrap this up by saying that we have done so many great things. We're in a warehouse that we've improved and changed, all the equipment, all the stories that you've told today. I'm really glad that you took the time out of your day to help us go through the process, because I think hopefully we've answered some questions and we've seen some really cool processes that not many people get behind the scenes, because we don't let people in very often. It is an FDA regulated facility, and so getting in, requires a little bit of work to get inside this building. And now you've been here, and I'm really glad you did.
Yeah, please feel free to see us at our next show.
Yeah.
You can. We'd love to see you in person in a physical tour whenever you can make it. So really to see what happens behind the doors and to see what kind of quality we really do put inside our products.
And you can meet people, and that's really what makes this all happen. I mean, honestly, I love the equipment, I love the facility, but honestly, what makes this happen day to day is the team. They do it all. They understand what they do it better than I do it. They're just amazing at it. Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right on. Thanks.
You.